Bob Cusack is editor-in-chief of The Hill. He joins me now. Okay, so Bob, we knew this investigation was ramping up. There's been so much breathless reporting that this is a big revelation that this grand jury is taking place. What do you make? What is the signal to you that this grand jury is happening?
Well, remember, when you go before the grand jury, you're talking about possible, and that's the word, possible criminal violations. So we're not talking about something that would be going after Mike Flynn, because there's a separate investigation, grand jury on that. So this means that the investigation is ramping up, and it's very interesting. I know you mentioned this, that the White House is saying they're going to fully cooperate with Mueller. I'm not sure how long that's going to last, because remember, President Trump is publicly ripping this investigation, and has also indicated that if Mueller goes into financial transactions of his family, well, then that could cross a red line. So it remains to be seen. But for now, Trump's lawyers are saying we're going to cooperate. We shall see.
So apart from the president himself, Bob, do you think that the president's associates, that family members, as you mentioned, have real reason to be concerned?
Oh, yes, definitely. I think this is something that, I mean, remember, Bob Mueller is a respected figure. He has hired a number of Democrats, and politically that doesn't look very good, but these are very capable prosecutors that he's got over a dozen now that he has brought on his team. So they're going to be, and that's where I think the rubber's going to hit the road, they're going to be subpoenaed, or at least initially requesting some types of documents and interviews, and then we're going to see if the Trump team actually does play ball or does only the things that it has to do. Because remember, Mueller has subpoena power here.
And as you mentioned, the president's lawyers say he's happy to cooperate, but last night at a campaign-style rally, he actually went on the attack. I want to play a little bit of what he said last night to you.
The Russia story is a total fabrication. It's just an excuse for the greatest loss in the history of American politics. That's all it is. Most people know there were no Russians in our campaign. There never were. We didn't win because of Russia. We won because of you. That I can tell you.
Do you think he helps his case when he says things like that?
That definitely works with his base, and looking at the polls, he's not doing well with independents, not doing well with Democrats, of course, but his base is sticking by him, so that does play well. Now, of course, the other question is Trump going to fire Mueller? He does have that ability, or at least to force the Department of Justice, whoever that is. Right now it'd be Rod Rosenstein, but if he doesn't do it, then somebody else, if he were to appoint somebody, if Rosenstein said no. Remember, there are other investigations going on here, Rena. You have congressional committees, intelligence, judiciary, that are looking into this. So even if you got rid of Mueller, which his attorney, Jay Sekulow, says he's not going to do, this investigation, plural, does not go away. And we've heard members of Congress say if he tries to do that during recess, they're going to push back on that. Yeah, that's right. And that's why the Senate is having these so-called pro forma sessions, so that if that would block any recess appointment, whether it's for Attorney General or any position. So the Senate's not here, but technically they're not in recess. And as you mentioned, the Senate, just before they left, they have blocked Trump, as you mentioned, from making those recess appointments. So what's motivating right now? What do you find unusual? The president's relationship with his own party is splintered. He's having trouble with his with those members that he needs on Capitol Hill. So where do you see all of this headed? Honestly, I think this week was a turning point in the relationship between Trump and the Republican-led Congress. He publicly blamed Republicans in Congress for not getting health care done, and also on the Russia sanctions bill, which he reluctantly signed. So the fact that he's calling out his own party, I think, was a matter of time, especially when you have his agenda just stalled. So the finger pointing does not help, and usually the party that's stronger is the party that's united, and Democrats are certainly more united than Republicans right now. Remember, when Republicans get back in town, they've got a lot to do. They've got to fund the government. They've got to raise the debt ceiling. They want to do tax reform. And some people want to stick with health care. So the Republican Party now is in a bit of disarray. I want to ask you before you go, it's the first full week of General Kelly running the West Wing. How's it going? What are you hearing? Well, listen, I think if I were working in the White House, I'd be not be leaking if I was a leaker, just because Kelly is a disciplinarian, and I think you want to see how he's going to set up shop and run the place. So I think his biggest job, he's not going to control Trump's tweeting. The president's going to continue to tweet. He's got to control the personalities around the president. And I think that Kelly has a lot more power than Reince Priebus did. So I think he's going to restore and has started to restore order. Is he going to get rid of all the leaks? No, that's impossible.
Bob Cusack, thank you for joining us, Bob.
Thanks, Rena.